When my wife was packing for her work trip, I wasn't snooping. I swear I wasn't. She was in our bedroom, throwing clothes into her suitcase, while I was just standing there, leaning against the doorway, sipping my coffee, watching her move around like it was just another Tuesday morning. But something inside me felt off, like my gut was whispering that something wasn't right. She was going on a 3-day marketing conference in Denver. Nothing unusual. She'd done this before. She's smart, confident, the kind of woman who lights up every room she walks into. But lately, she'd been distant, polite but cold. Her texts are shorter. Her hugs are quicker. Her eyes are always somewhere else. So when she walked into the bathroom to grab her charger, I noticed her open makeup pouch on the bed. Lipstick, perfume, mascara, and a silver blister pack of birth control pills tucked under her brush. At first, I froze. My heart just stopped. Then it started pounding so loud, I swear I could hear it echo in my ears. We hadn't used birth control in almost 2 years. She'd stopped after we decided to try for a baby, something she wanted even more than I did. So why now? I remember picking it up, my hands trembling, like touching it would somehow give me an answer. But all it gave me was silence, the kind that feels heavier than words. When she came back into the room, I quickly slipped my hand behind my back. She smiled a soft, easy smile and asked if I'd seen her hairbrush. I nodded, pretending everything was fine, pretending my whole world didn't just tilt sideways. As she zipped her suitcase shut, my mind started racing. Was she sick? Did her doctor recommend them again? Or was there someone else? I didn't want to think that, but the thought was already there, sharp, dark, impossible to ignore. When she kissed me goodbye that morning, it felt different, forced. Her lips were warm, but her eyes cold. And as I watched her car disappear down the street, one single question kept replaying in my head. If she's going away for work, why does she need birth control? That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, all I saw was that silver pack of pills glinting in the light. I kept replaying the moment, her smile, her tone, the way she didn't even blink when I said goodbye. By midnight, I was pacing the living room, trying to convince myself I was being paranoid. She'd always been independent, confident enough not to need my permission for anything. Maybe it really was just a health thing. Maybe she had a reason. But then my phone buzzed. It was her, a simple text. Just landed. Super tired. Talk tomorrow, Redheart. No, love you. No, miss you already. Just mechanical warmth. Like she was checking a box. The next day, I called during my lunch break. She didn't pick up. Then later that evening, I tried again. Straight to voicemail. That's when my chest tightened. Because I remembered something she once said years ago, back when we were still dating. She said, if a woman goes silent, it's never random. It's either she's hurt or hiding something. So I checked her Instagram. Nothing. Her last post was from 3 days ago, a picture of our dog captioned, "My baby boy." But when I looked at her story highlights, one caught my attention. A small clip she'd posted earlier that day. A view from her hotel balcony. City skyline, golden sunset. But in the reflection of the glass door, there was a faint outline of another person. A man, standing close enough that his shoulder almost brushed hers. I zoomed in until the pixels blurred, my stomach twisting. Tall frame, white shirt, broad shoulders. Not someone from her usual office circle. I'd seen their photos before. That was the first time I felt my faith in her begin to crack. Still, I needed proof, not assumptions. So I called her best friend, Jess. We weren't close, but Jess was honest, sometimes brutally. Hey, have you heard from Emma? I asked, trying to sound casual. There was a pause, then a nervous laugh. Yeah, she texted earlier. Said the conference was interesting. Something in her voice felt wrong. Forced. Interesting. I repeated. Yeah, Jess said quickly. You know, long meetings, networking, free wine. The usual. I wanted to ask more, but I didn't. Because I could tell she already knew something I didn't. That night, I opened her laptop. She never locked it. We trusted each other. Or at least, I thought we did. I hesitated for a second, then opened her messages. Most were boring work emails. But one thread stood out, labeled only with a single letter, R. At first, I thought it was a client, until I saw the preview line. Can't wait to see you again tonight. My heart stopped. I clicked it open. And there it was, dozens of messages, stretching back weeks, flirty texts, inside jokes, pictures of wine glasses, sunsets, and hotel rooms. It wasn't explicit, but it didn't have to be. Every word, every emoji told me exactly what was going on. And at the bottom of the thread, a message from the night before she left. Don't forget your pills this time, winking face. I sat there in the dark, staring at the screen, feeling my chest cave in. Everything started spinning. My trust, my love, our future, all slipping away like sand through my fingers. When I heard her voice on the phone later that night, cheerful and light, I played along. I asked about her day. She laughed. She told me the meetings went great. She said she'd be busy tomorrow, but would call before bed. And as she spoke, I just kept thinking about those pills in her bag and the man in the reflection, because now I wasn't wondering why she packed them. I was wondering who she packed them for. The morning she came back from Denver, the house felt different. Quiet. Too quiet. Like, even the walls knew something had changed. Her flight landed around 8 a.m. She texted me, "On my way home. Can't wait to see you, Redheart." I stared at the message for a long time before replying. Can't wait too. And I hated how natural that lie fell on my tongue. I spent the next hour pretending to clean, wiping the counter that didn't need wiping, rearranging books, checking my reflection like I'd somehow see the truth written across my face. My heart was racing, not from excitement, but from something darker. When her car finally pulled into the driveway, I watched from the window. She stepped out in her beige coat, her hair tied back, suitcase rolling behind her. She looked radiant. Relaxed, like a woman who had just come back from a spa, not a business trip. The moment she walked through the door, she smiled and said, "Hey, stranger." And just like that, the air in the room changed. She hugged me, tightly, warmly. And for a second, my body almost believed it. Almost. But her scent was different. Not the vanilla perfume she usually wore. Something heavier, muskier, something that didn't belong to her. Conference went well? I asked, pretending not to notice. "Yeah," she said, setting her bag down. "Long hours. I am exhausted." She smiled again, but it was that practiced, picture-perfect smile, the one she used when she wanted to hide behind charm. Then she reached for her suitcase, dragging it toward the bedroom. And I noticed something else, a small detail that twisted the knife a little deeper. Hair makeup ache. It wasn't the same one she packed. The original had a little gold zipper I'd helped fix weeks ago. This one was brand new, black leather, shiny, unfamiliar. I wanted to ask her about it, but I didn't. Instead, I followed her into the room, silent, watching, memorizing. She unpacked quickly, humming softly to herself. That same song she always played in the car. She pulled out her clothes, hung them neatly, and tossed her worn heels into the closet. Then she reached into the inner pocket of her suitcase. And there was again the silver blister pack of pills. I watched her freeze for a split second, her hand hesitating just long enough to tell me everything. Then she slid it into her drawer like it was nothing. She turned around and caught me looking. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I said, forcing a smile. "Just glad you're home." That night, she cooked dinner, pasta with garlic bread, her comfort meal. We ate at the table like we always did, talking about small things, work, traffic, the dog. But beneath every word was a silence thick enough to choke on. Her phone buzzed twice during dinner. She flipped it over, face down. When I glanced at it, I saw just a flash of the name. I almost said something right there. Almost told her I knew everything. But something stopped me. It wasn't fear, it was exhaustion. The kind that settles into your bones when you realize love isn't dying fast. It's dying slowly, politely, pretending to still breathe. After dinner, she went to shower. I sat on the couch, staring at nothing. I could hear the water running, her humming faintly behind the door. When she came out, she looked fresh, glowing, wrapped in a towel. She smiled and said, "You okay? You're quiet." "I'm just tired," I said. She walked over, kissed me softly on the forehead, and whispered, "I missed you." I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But all I could see was that message on her phone, and a reflection of a man I didn't know standing beside her in Denver. That night, I lay awake next to her. She fell asleep quickly, her hand resting on my chest like it used to when things were good. And as I stared at the ceiling, I realized something painful. Sometimes betrayal doesn't scream. Sometimes it whispers goodnight. The next morning, I woke up before her. The sun hadn't even climbed over the houses yet. Everything was gray, quiet, fragile. She was still asleep beside me, her hand loosely on my arm, her breathing slow and steady. For a moment, I just watched her, the woman I'd built my entire life around, the woman I believed I knew down to her soul. And all I could think was, how long has she been lying to me? That question didn't let me rest. It followed me like a ghost. When she finally woke up, she smiled sleepily, stretched, and said, "Can you make coffee? I am dying." I nodded, walked to the kitchen, and tried to act normal. But my hands were shaking when I reached for the mug. I knew today was the day I'd find out, one way or another. She left around 10 a.m. to run errands. Something about groceries and dry cleaning. The moment I heard her car pull away, my heart started pounding. I didn't want to be that guy, the one who snoops, who invades privacy. But after everything I'd seen, privacy wasn't what it used to be. So I went to her suitcase, the same one she'd unpacked yesterday. She'd tucked it neatly into the closet, zipped and folded like nothing had happened. I unzipped it slowly. Inside, everything looked clean. Too clean. Then I noticed the side compartment, the one she never used before. I opened it, and there it was, a receipt from a hotel, Denver Grand Suites. My heart stopped when I saw the dates, the exact 3 days she was away for work. But that wasn't what broke me. It was a room number written at the bottom, room 807, and below that, a note scribbled in pen. "See you next month, Red Heart. R." My hands went cold. The room started spinning. I sat down on the floor, staring at the paper like it could somehow explain itself. For a long time, I couldn't move, couldn't think, couldn't breathe. When I finally pulled myself together, I checked my phone records, something I never did before. And there it was again. Dozens of calls to a number saved under Rachel, work. Rachel wasn't real. She was him. The same initial from a hotel note. I felt sick. It was like my stomach had turned inside out. I remembered her laughter during dinner last night, the way she looked at me, kissed me goodnight, and I realized she had already chosen someone else. That night, she came home smiling, holding grocery bags. "Hey, babe," she said casually, "I got your favorite cereal." I just stood there, leaning against the counter, holding the receipt behind my back. She looked at me for a moment, confused. "What's wrong?" I didn't answer right away. Instead, I placed the receipt on the table, smooth and deliberate. Her eyes flicked down. The smile vanished. Her hands froze midair. "Where did you get that?" she whispered. I didn't answer. I just stared. She blinked fast, swallowing hard. "Okay, it's not what you think," she started. I laughed. A hollow, bitter laugh that didn't even sound human. "Not what I think," I said quietly. "You stayed in a hotel room with someone who writes you love notes and signs with a heart, but it's not what I think." Tears filled her eyes instantly. "Please, let me explain," she said, reaching for me. I stepped back. "Explain what? How long? Who is he?" She hesitated, shaking her head, then whispered, "It's not serious." Not serious. Those 2 words hit harder than any confession could have. Not serious, like she just spilled coffee on the table, not shattered our marriage. "You lied to me," I said softly, "over and over. And you still think I'm stupid enough to believe anything you say now." She started crying, quietly, helplessly. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said. It just happened. We were working late, and... Stop, I said. My voice broke halfway through. Don't. Just don't. She covered her face with her hands, sobbing, and for a moment, I wanted to hold her. Even then, even after everything, that's the sickest part of betrayal. It doesn't kill love immediately. It just poisons it slowly, until even your pity feels like guilt. That night, I couldn't stay. I packed a bag, grabbed my car keys, and left without another word. She called after me, begging me to talk, but I couldn't. As I drove away, I saw her silhouette in the doorway, small, broken, crying, and yet all I felt was emptiness. The truth didn't give me peace. It just gave me proof. I didn't sleep that night. The sound of rain on the windshield followed me all the way to a motel off the interstate. I just sat there in the parked car for hours, staring at nothing. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, the guilt, the tears, the fear. And that damn receipt, room 807. It didn't make sense. She'd never been careless like that before. She'd always been calculated, organized, careful. If she was cheating, she wouldn't have left a trail that obvious, would she? I told myself I was done. But by sunrise, I was back at the house. Because no matter how much it hurt, I needed answers. When I walked in, she was sitting on the couch, her eyes red and swollen. She didn't even look surprised to see me. I didn't sleep, she said quietly. I nodded. Neither did I. For a long time, we just sat there in silence. Then she whispered, "You deserve the truth." She told me it started a few months ago, not with an affair, but with something else entirely. Her hands trembled as she spoke. "I've been seeing a therapist, someone who's helping me with something I never told you." I didn't say a word. She took a deep breath and said, "The birth control pills weren't for cheating. They were for my treatment. I was diagnosed with early-stage endometriosis 6 months ago. My doctor said they might help control the symptoms." I froze. My throat went dry. "What are you talking about? Why wouldn't you tell me that?" She looked up at me with tear-streaked eyes. "Because I didn't want you to look at me differently. We've been trying for years to have a baby, and I thought if you knew, you'd give up on me." Her voice cracked. "Art isn't a man. It's Rachel, my therapist. She booked the hotel under her company account because I didn't want my work to know I was taking time off for treatment." I felt my whole world tilt. The hotel, the note, the pills, the secrecy. It all started fitting together. But in a way I didn't know how to process. "You could have told me," I said. "You should have told me." She nodded slowly. "I know. I was scared. I didn't want you to think I was broken. You've always wanted a family so badly, and I felt like I failed you." Her words hit me harder than any accusation, because beneath all the anger, I realized she wasn't just hiding from me. She was hiding from herself. I didn't forgive her right away. Honestly, I didn't even know if I could. But that morning, as the light came to the blinds, I sat beside her. Neither of us spoke. We just sat, two broken people trying to understand where everything went wrong. And for the first time in months, she reached for my hand. It felt unfamiliar, fragile, like something that had been shattered and pieced together again. We started therapy together a few weeks later. It wasn't easy. There were still nights when I'd wake up angry, replaying the lies, the fear, the hurt. But then there were also nights when she'd wake up crying, apologizing for things I didn't even ask her to explain. Pain changes people. But sometimes it also teaches you to listen differently. The last thing she said to me before her next trip, a real one this time, was simple. She looked me in the eyes and said, "I promise no more secrets. Not even the ones I tell myself." And that's when I realized something. Betrayal doesn't always start with someone else. Sometimes it starts when we stop trusting the people who love us, or when they stop trusting us to understand their pain. Even now, I don't know what the future looks like for us. Maybe we'll make it. Maybe we won't. But one thing's certain. The next time I see her packing for a trip, I won't just look for what's in her bag. I'll look for what's in her eyes.